Okay, I'm holding both microphones. Okay, can you guys hear me okay on the phone?
Yep, we hear you.
All right, everyone. Here we go. Yo, your attention, please. All right. Hello from Seoul, Korea, everyone. If someone on the call could post the link to the proposal from the agenda for BPER and DR, that would be really great so we can everyone follow along. And maybe even if someone could put it on the screen and share their screen, that would be really great.
Hey guys, anyone here? Anyone here? We're actually everyone here. Everyone here. We're going to the call right now. If you could please be quiet while everyone works on the EOS network. Please, everyone here, if you're having a conversation, do so outside of this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim, everyone. Thank you, Tim. So, thank you, buddy. Okay, great. All right, so very simply, the goal of this proposal is to agree on a protocol for emergency readiness and response. This comes directly out of some calls that Thomas Cox had with block producers about emergency readiness and how we would deal with emergencies. So the proposal is essentially that we need to know what to do and when to determine if an alert is an emergency and what level of emergency it is and what actions to take. So we've formed a small group to plan and think through different emergency situations. So we have some of them down here listed. The idea would be to create a status site for the EOS network here, which I got a domain bpstatus.com, but I'm open to other ideas of what kind of domain you want to use for this. Maybe we put it on the monitor or something. So we came up with 4 different levels for the EOS system operational status. The first level would be normal, with all block producers producing normally, and CPU, RAM, and net within normal levels. Then the next level would be warning, where if even one of the top producers is not producing, but still in the schedule, or if RAM usage was over 80%, or we can come up with some quantities for CPU and net attacks, how to quantify what levels would be a warning level for that. And then a critical level would be 4 out of the top 21 producers not producing but still in the schedule. And doom level, which is the level we never ever want to get to. We never want to have to announce doom level. That's why we call it doom. Is 7 out of the 21 top producers not producing. So whenever there's an issue with the network, we'll need to agree on these status levels so that everyone can be updated. Depending on what the status level is, it will determine how what the next steps are. So the proposal is that right now what we have that's working is alerts are sent to the Telegram for the top BP emergency contacts. And that's all from the document that I've been maintaining for the past few months and building from everyone who's active producing or standby producing, that we have their Telegram keybase handles in that document along with the UTC offset of the contact. And so alerts are sent to Telegram, and then we'll go to the keybase group for top EOS BPs for discussion. If the this is not complete, but if the system condition level reaches critical, for instance, then that might be a situation where we get everyone on video, and then steps will be listed and translated, and each BP will confirm what step they're on throughout that. So I have a list at the end of this document of just some outstanding issues, but I want to make sure that we all agree and adopt like a process that I outlined here so that everyone knows what to do so we can be prepared in the case of an emergency. So some of the outstanding stuff here is, the alerting system. That's what I propose above, that we have that on a public website that shows basically what the status of the EOS mainnet has been every day. It would be a green light on a calendar So if any day there's an issue, we'd have another colored light, depending on what the issue was, with details of what the issue was for total transparency. I want to propose adding phone numbers to the contact list now that it's locked down per Roger. Thank you, Roger's idea. And we already limited the access to that worksheet. So if you don't have access to it, please click the link and then request access, because right now you can't even read it unless we have your email on there. And anyone who requests access, I verify that they're actually with the BP that they say they're with. So one of the suggestions on here was, right, add phone numbers if we want to do that. Then potentially come up with another alerting system like OpenDuty that could send us text messages or actual phone calls if we want to do that. Documentation of procedures for keeping good backups and logs. You know, I think this plays into the idea of also having tech support from BP to BP in Keybase, which we have a channel for now. Potentially get an SLA from a C++ individual or B1 to keep us in the loop. So, you know, and also so we can have bug fixes made quickly and efficiently. So we need a list of, if any block producers are able to fix bugs in the EOS code, we want to have you on a list so we know who you are. This is also for emergency actions that are taken. There might be a situation where BPs need to act immediately, but then file arbitration against themselves. You know, that's pretty rare, but we should come up with an arrangement that we all know and are familiar with. So if anyone wants to take part in planning this further, you can sign up on this document and join our Telegram group. But this is what I'm proposing for now. Are there any questions? Yeah, we have a question from Tim about rollout and how long we can get this started. I mean, I think we can adopt this immediately if everyone's cool with it, because we're already using that Telegram to pass out emergency alerts, like yesterday. Yeah. You know, when top BPs stop producing for any reason, you know, we've been using that to reach out to them, and then we jump into Keybase. But I think that, you know, if we agree on the warning levels, we need to still quantify what levels of CPU and network usage would be a warning or critical level, and then adopt the procedure of only going into video chat if it's something that's, you know, basically warning or critical, or maybe just critical. You know, we'll need to decide on that. Any other questions, you guys on the phone? No? Yeah.
Just want to say, Ben, great proposal. Thank you so much for working on this. Good stuff.
Hey, David. Thank you. I don't see you on the screen, but I heard you. Yeah, what? Marshall had something.
I just want to say that SLAs actually make a lot of sense. And I think that, yeah, it's okay. One of the most important things that we can do is actually produce a service level agreement in terms of people that are leveraging what we're trying to build and responding to things that make sense, right? So if you have an issue, we should have some level of agreement as to the timeline that issues are solved.
You mean, okay, so what Adrian's suggesting is to have an SLA for producers that if there's an issue, there's some time period within which you have to get that issue resolved. That could be in the Reg Producer Agreement. That's something we can discuss more. And if you want to put together something, we
that would have.
Yeah.
That would require more discussion. But I completely agree with Marshall. The idea is as this moves towards each block producer having that SLA. I mean, this is classic for any sort of a NOC or any other thing like that. You have to have SLAs with response requirements for them, because that could also help if a block producer doesn't respond within a given period of time, then we've got a problem with the entire chain. And so we will need to add that. But this, I don't think it's really ready for that yet. It has to have more discussion.
Correction, it's Adrian.
Yeah, it was Adrian from SaltBlock, yes. Adrian from SaltBlock, yes.
Yeah, this is Marshall from EOS Fish. Yeah, David, the SLA stuff's a good idea, but still the issue is enforcement. And if everybody's not willing to get on the same page, then it doesn't matter.
I agree, and that's the thing that needs to happen here is that as the block producers move to a referendum approach, then when those kinds of things come in with SLAs, et cetera, it literally just becomes, and this meeting should become, we've proposed an SLA that what we'd like block producers to do. Everybody's had a chance to look at it. Does everyone, are we going to vote on this? Does everyone agree that this is going to be, we're going to do this and we're going to enforce that among all block producers? That's really the steps that needs to happen. You're 100% right. No teeth, no agreement. You might not even want to bother.
Yeah, we'll put that on the agenda for next week. Yeah, we need to put together. Yeah. I think we could start the discussion offline and we'll put together a group for anyone who's interested. Yeah, we could discuss the SLA on the same group. So if you go to that proposal and sign up on the bottom, if you want to be part of talking about SLAs, we can also talk about that in that group and come up with something for next week. Any other comments, questions about emergency response? I mean, the idea of this is getting a level of professionalism to the EOS network. You know, and to keep stepping up the bar.
Those things? Who will build those things? The alerting things.
Yeah, it's not built. It's something that I'm proposing to do. It's totally open for anyone who wants to join and help out with that. You know, we could even have multiple sites doing it, but we're going to need to come up with a system of maybe multiple logs being put together, and you know, I mean, we can maybe build something manual for now. So I think step by step.
Thank you, Ben. We can go on to the next item on the agenda, please. Folks on who are not in Seoul, who are driving the screen, can we go on to the next agenda item, please? Thank you.
Yeah, is Sukesh here? Sukesh from EOS Green.
They can mute us from there.
All right, we'll move on to the next one, and if he comes on later, we can circle back. Sheldon.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Yeah. So basically, this is a third proposal in this third agenda, third item in today's agenda. So what we have proposed is that we can consider the relationship between the worker proposal and the referendum. So we are thinking the importance of referendum, and also referendum is like a basic foundation for all the worker proposal as a platform, and also the worker proposal will require to for submission of a proposal, so which is allow people to vote. So we are thinking to combine these two together, and how can the teams that both are working on the US referendum and the worker proposal as Jay initiate, so we can work together for the both backend contract and also the front-end UI.
Can we post the link to the document for this one?
Okay, sure.
Just in the chat here.
So we also noticed that already some team come up with some UI. So as ourselves, we're also trying to write on the web and also the UI. So we are thinking the home community can consider the combine or work together with referendum and also the worker proposal.
Sheldon, do you have any anything like a proof of concept or anything that we could view?
Okay, sure. I'm sending now.
Thank you.
So you know that Michael Fletcher from 42, I think, he had started work on referendum contract fully on chain and all that, maybe you want to sync up with him and see where that's going, right?
Yeah, so Michael is working on it, and also I think Jay is also working on the backend. We work together for the worker proposal, the backend, the contract. So we're thinking to combine the both together because it's a foundation for the governance in US community. I'm sending the link of our concept. Yeah, and
Do you have a timeline for us, Sheldon, at all?
okay, so the timeline is basically worker proposals timeline I'm sending. Yeah, so for the proof of concept, maybe this is just idea of philosophy that we're trying to propose. Is about the some philosophy about the fairness and identity. It maybe has some problem, but we can discuss it. So on, and for the timeline, I think we can work together based on the worker proposals timeline, the WPS timeline, yeah, which is proposed. Yeah, so I'm sending the timeline.
So I remember going through that document, and I was a little bit confused. Like, if you had a few implementation examples as to how that proposal comes into life, I think that would be really valuable, because there's a lot of philosophical stances in there. That's what got me confused, right? How do we apply that then? Because we need a system that does run on chain, written in C++, right?
Yeah, so your question is about the difficulty about how to combine the different systems together, or
No, I guess I'm just expecting code out of that.
Can one of the guys who is Alex, you're breaking up, so we're not able to actually hear what you're saying. There's been a request to one of the people who is not in Seoul to please share your screen with the link that Sheldon just posted. We're only seeing your faces, so we would love to see the proposal screen shared on Zoom chat, on Zoom. So if one of you could start screen share.
I think maybe the first link is better. This is our philosophy. We're trying to talking about the partition, and this is what we propose. Yeah.
Sheldon, could you just walk us through some of the highlights real quick? So
Yeah, sure. So, for example, we are thinking, we just want to highlight, so there's some details, but we want to just to mention the similarity of the proposal and referendum, because it's like you need to submit the proposal, and also you need to vote, which is very, both for the referendum and the worker proposal are very similar. So in here is just the details of it, but we want to highlight the similarity between the two systems. So what we want to do is to promote to by the community to think that how can we combine these two together, or how can these two projects that work together to help the governance work better. Yeah. So currently the So currently the WPS group actually is working on the worker proposal, and we are working close with them. And so we just want to for this BP meeting, we just want to hear some advice and opinions from the BPCs about how do you think about these two projects and how can they link with each other. Yeah.
I don't.
I think we should review that offline. Have that posted to a place where everyone has access, and we review it and circle back. We're going to read that online.
Okay, so maybe we can read online, and maybe we can talk it on the chat, or either the referendum chat or other chat. We can discuss about it. Yeah. Also, you can feel free to add the comments based on the documents we already shared to the link to the chat. Yeah, you can add the comment, and maybe we can have further discussion offline. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sheldon. I don't think there are any other comments from the Soul team here, so we can move on to the next item. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Has Sukesh signed on? Is anyone?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great.
Really have bad internet today. Can you guys see me? Yeah. Hi. Can someone share the screen to the document? Because I don't have it. Yeah, so I think many of you have already saw this document. This is about like how the call link should be shared, because there was a lot of discussions before of what we need to do and how it should be done. So I have created a proposal saying that we should create like a mailing list so that we can have like a good list of all the BP's email addresses and everyone. So whenever we have a meeting, we can forward the link, and we can allow all the BPs who are interested to join this call and participate in the discussions, because there were some like voices raised during the Telegram chat, like if you're not talking in the call, then you're not active for some reason. Even during the last call, it was raised. So I'm just saying, like, it should be an open call to all the BPs who are interested, and everyone should be more active and raise their issues if they have any. Yeah, that's it. So there, like, was it Libblocks? They have Kedar has already suggested that he can pitch in for the Zoom video call if we are more than 200 plus people and so on. So that's really good.
Guys, have we not talked about this before, about access to the call, and it was agreed that it was opened up and anybody can join? We seem to be discussing the same.
No, not anyone can join today.
But any of the active or standby BPs have access to the link. This was agreed from the EOS UK guys a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but this proposal is to actually allow BP candidates as well. Like, why should it only be limited to active and standby? Because all the BPs are still trying to get into these positions, and some people just think like speaking in this call gives them more, like a special advantage or something like that. So it's not fair for the BPs who are being active and participating in different working groups and trying to contribute.
Every BP is in the Telegram channel, or should be in the Telegram channel. If you don't have access to the calls posted here, I'm sorry we're just kind of talking over, but this has been an agenda item before and dealt with.
I don't think they are the same things. To be honest, like these calls, they just active and standby, but also the BP candidates who are not getting paid.
Sukesh, I have a question. So right now, who's in the channel, because we've been advocating for this as well, but who's in the channel that's saying that are not able to participate in the calls? Because as Sharif has been saying, if they're in Telegram right now, I haven't seen anybody ask for the link that has not been given the link. So who's left?
I'm not 100% sure, but this was from like 2 weeks ago. Like there were many discussions, and when people asked me to.
So since 2 weeks ago, have things changed? Because we haven't really seen anybody else asking for participation that have not been given participation.
Well, I'm asking here. Well, I'm asking here. Yeah, but I'm here to ask let us in to join these calls, because I want to be active and participate in the discussions.
But you're on this call right now. So who is not on this call that should be on this call?
I'm on this call because I have an item on the agenda. If people doesn't have an item on the agenda and they're not part of the KeyBase channel, they cannot be on this call. That's what I'm trying to say here.
But isn't it that exactly the point?
That have been asking for participation in this call, as far as I know, have been given access. So is there anybody else that needs access that has not been given access?
But even though I don't have, it shouldn't be limited. Like I should have an agenda on the item to be on the call, right? Because I would like to be active and ask questions. Because I cannot ask questions on the live chat or that's going on in YouTube.
So you have an opportunity right now to ask questions. So what would be your questions other than, can I be on the call?
I wasn't here on the call earlier today. But
okay, guys, I suggest we move off this. If anybody would like access or propose an agenda item, post it in Telegram and we'll get it on. But there's so many issues in the network, and we're talking about the same thing we've talked about 2 weeks ago. We've got to do better. Come on, guys.
I just wanted to say that I really disagree by having everyone join that when they call Rec Producer, because we're going to have discussions just like that one where people want to join just to talk things, and we're not moving ahead. Like there's 200 people on this call. Are we wasting our time? And there's not a lot of channels right now. We're just trying to find smaller channels where conversations are not flooded by like everyone's opinion on everything. I think we need to have focus.
Guys, this is Timothy Lewis. Thank you, Alex. This is Timothy Lewis, David. Timothy Lewis here from Liberty Block. First off, everyone here, we actually have jobs to do. Anyone in here who's talking, you're not fucking working. Right now, we have a job to do. We have one fucking call a week. Act like it fucking matters. We're getting paid a lot of money to do this. I think the community would appreciate if you were paying attention. Secondly, if you don't know about the Telegram calls, your Telegram channel to understand what the call is, you don't deserve to be a BP. We've been doing this since the beginning. It's not hard. I do agree that we should have the Zoom limit above 200 if there are people that are going to be joining beyond then. So I'm in agreement with that. But if you are not on the Telegram channels and don't understand the consistency of a one call a week program, then you should be voted out and not included in the system. So again, thank you for your quietness and attentiveness to this conversation that we're having about work. And thank you for everyone on the call.
Thank you.
I was just gonna add that I do agree with Alexander on this. I mean, I feel that we're still trying to fully define out the purpose of these calls, but the overriding thing that I think came from the last call, and I think we need to take this forward, is that these are meant to be a place of action. So we have various discussion forums in which all of both the block producers, standbys, and candidates can partake in those debates. And my understanding of these, therefore, is that this is going to be intended to be, going forward, a forum for decision making. And if that's the case, therefore, I feel that the idea that anybody can propose something that goes on the agenda and they, therefore, are going to be participants in that discussion is probably acceptable. That's my own view.
Okay, like as I said, it's a proposal, so it's up to you guys. Like the community is watching, and it's up to you to decide who should be on this call and who shouldn't be. You asked me for a proposal to why and how you can select different VPs who are active to be on this call. I sent a proposal, so it's up to you to make the decision. Now we are not the paid or standby, so.
Thanks, Sukesh. Buddy, do we have any other items on the agenda?
There are no other agenda items.
Does anybody want to open any other questions to the floor while we have everybody? No?
Nothing more than I'm starting to question whether or not these calls are remotely productive enough. And I think we need to have a serious look at what we're actually trying to get out of these calls, because this just doesn't feel like it's been a productive use of everybody's time.
I kind of feel we're skewing a few things. There's the sudo thing we have not really decided. There's a contract version 1.1. There's a forum. There's a few things we're just not talking about, but I guess.
I agree with you as well, Alexandra, but
no one steps in.
No, and I agree, but then they haven't been put on the agenda, so in fairness, and that, therefore, if we want to talk about those different issues, they need to be raised by somebody.
I understand, so let's skip it for another week.
Yeah. Real quick, Rohan would like to talk for 2 to 3 minutes about the unreg contract. Just a quick update.
Hey, thank you, buddy. We discussed the unreg contract last call, and we decided as BPs we would look at the contract, see if it works, and then we needed to load it up on EOS. Has anyone looked at it yet? Any comments so far?
I reviewed the code, for sure.
Okay, that's fine. Matias from EOS Argentina is actually here in Seoul, and I've spoken to him earlier. He is happy to do a session on Saturday. So in Saturday in Seoul. So if anyone's interested, if anyone's actually here, we could actually go through the contract, see if it's working, test it out together, and then I can't see any other way to push things forward. Is that a good idea? Are you guys happy with it? There's a lot of BPs here, and we can probably do a Zoom call as well.
Sounds a good idea to me. I think you should set it up and make it a focus call just on that to do a review. Sounds like the best way to then make it enable us to actually make a vote on that.
Yeah, exactly. So if things go well, we'll probably even sign it up on some Saturday. Yeah, excellent. That's it. That's all. Thank you, buddy. That's all I wanted to say. So we'll do something on Saturday for BPs who are interested. It might take half an hour at the most, I think. And yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
What time? Saturday, what time? Okay. All right. The exact time is to be figured out. All right. Thank you.
Alex, you brought up the sudo contract, the forum contract. Do you have anything you want to add real quick, or should we end this call?
Well, I proposed to put it in, but a few people highlighted some objections. Maybe we can discuss that. Who wants it in? Who doesn't? Or why?
But this goes back to what I was saying. This is like me bringing up last week how we handle, in theory, bad actor BPs, and ultimately I was slapped down, probably rightly, by the virtue of the fact that talking about it was and the different items wasn't what these calls were intended for. It was intended to be a case of proposing definite actions to which we therefore voted on. So relating to this, it needs to be debated through the channels in theory, and then ultimately just needs to be a straight vote for people to make decisions on. I mean, you're right, we could use this time now to sit here and debate whether or not sudo powers are an appropriate thing to roll out or not, but I'm questioning, throwing back on the feedback I received last week, whether or not that is actually what these calls are for or not.
Yeah, maybe we need a series of focused calls, right? So, and there one specific item that we do a deep dive in, and people can bring their opinions to it and see if we can work towards decisions. And then those proposals then should be put forward for consideration to the wider group on the weekly call. You know,
I
I absolutely agree. I think the sudo command and what ultimately could result from this and the dangers that might happen from this need to be discussed in length. I think that this is not something as simple as, hey, yes, let's try to do this on a call. This needs to be a series of focus calls. We need to dive deep. We need to understand some of the implications that we think it might have and really start to get creative about some of the attack vectors that this might create. So I think it's all much longer than just pop it up, propose it, and let's get it done. We got to start talking about the sudo command, especially seriously.
Tim, can you set up an agenda, a call for that then?
I can set up a call for that.
Perfect.
I invite everyone to read. There's a link with some discussions that go pretty good. Luke started that on the EOS forum. If you can read that through and put your opinion in, some of these things you just said were the objections were sort of refuted, some were added. So it's a worthy document, I think.
Sounds good, Alex. We will start with that on the call. I'll try to figure out when that's going to be done in the next 24 hours and post it. Thank you.
Yeah, as Alex mentioned, I just posted a link to an EOS Go forums discussion about sudo. I don't know that a live video chat is the best way to debate something this important. These things should be thought out and agenda items should be proposed as we're going to discuss them on a call like this. I agree with what's been said by David. I'm still a little confused on the purpose of these calls. I don't know that they're the best place to make voting decisions either, because then the influence of someone's personality influences the vote. These things can be done on chain. The forum is a great move forward, but we have to clarify exactly how you propose something and how you vote something. I noticed that the documentation for how to even show up and say, hey, I'm here, wasn't exactly accurate based on that. So we still have some work to do technically so that we can get these things consistent, so that we can have a forum on chain, have discussions on chain, votes on chain. And I don't know that a video format is the best way to do that, but I appreciate that there were fewer agenda items here. And I feel like if we get to the point where there's no agenda items, then that clarifies that this call isn't the most effective way to do these things, but we'll see.
Great, everybody. I think we're done on the call then. Thanks for taking the time out today to talk, and we'll see you on the chain.
Thanks for hosting, buddy. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.